nothing stays. Where can there be a stable I in this ever-changing process? So also in meditation, you can have an experience of an awareness which has no reference point. So where is this I in these moments? So actually it's quite good, we did it last week, to make a meditation. You sit down for your morning meditation and you just sit. The mind open, happy, unhappy, whatever. And then you go, the thought, I am meditating. And then it's amazing. Did you notice it? Yeah, it's amazing how the I jumps in. All of a sudden there's something more than just meditating. I am meditating. It's really amazing meditation. Then you go, where did you come from? Where have you been? You know, why aren't you here all the time? Why can't you go and get lost? I feel much better when you're not there. You know, this seemingly existing I, if you notice it, it always comes when we don't need it. When we're nervous, the situation is difficult, panic, whatever, then it's there, taking up all the space. When you don't, if there's like a car, in case there's a sofa on the road at one point, that was with Bati, we were driving on the highway, all of a sudden there was a sofa on the road, and so she reacted really well, I tell you. So, but most of us, we could feel the I think, you know. But if you would have felt the I before you reacted, you would have gone on the brakes. That's it, you know. When we don't have time to bring the I up, who takes up the space, we react in a really good way. Automatically almost, because then the wisdom mind is operating. If the I comes in, you brake, and you know, we would have smashed that sofa, and probably the cars behind us also. We were so lucky, really. I mean, wow, thank you, Bhatya. You probably saved my life at that time. Or you preserved my life at that time. So we were saying this morning, you know, this is a situation you'll never forget. Because it's so strong, it's so unexpected. A sofa and a big one on the highway near Netanya. Nachon, I will never forget. So, so it is a useful concept in order to be able to communicate. I and other are neither one nor separate. They are dynamic experience. In this experience, you cannot find a permanent substance that we could define as a separate, constant individuum and would serve as a real identification and clear split to the world out there. A vital, not graspable flow of experiences without somebody. So for some people that can be very liberating to hear that, and for other people it's totally frightening. So if it's a bit frightening, it's actually quite good, because then you understand that your world will go totally upside down. Where we suspect an individual essence, all we find is open awareness, which is not different from anybody else's. We do not have to defend this stream of awareness because it is not vulnerable. It is simply open space. The territory of this seeming I is in reality a karmic energy field without an owner. It's nice, no? This karmic energy field, sometimes very, like energy fields are, sometimes very tight, you know, nothing goes through, and sometimes quite loose. To identify with it is lacking awareness. To understand that there's nothing to defend is wisdom. My body, my family, my friends, my country, the clinging of this I has no limits. It grasps everything that it wants to identify with and pushes everything away that seems threatening and unpleasant. In order to get free, we have to give up all identifications. The whole emotional play becomes apparent with our identifications, the clinging to the pleasant and the avoidance of the unpleasant. The question is always, what do I want? What do I want to get rid of? This is the double movement of the I grasping, to draw in, to push away, based on the assumption that the I really exists. And this is what directs our life. What do I want? What do I want to get rid of? Yeah, the double. What is it called? What does it call it? The double movement of the I grasping, or tetsuma, Tenzin Palmo calls it the seesaw. You know, zoom, zoom, zoom. We're never in the middle. Identification creates all suffering. If I see something as mine and somebody else wants it, there will be conflict because it seems to become less mine. I think you can see with children, isn't it? Oh! Yeah, so if you remember when your children were still very small, like how they would fight over one object that before none of them wanted, and if one has it, it's like, and we're still the same.
They forget and go for another one.
Yeah. Yeah, or they try to make the other jealous by, look, I have a better one. Ew. We're still playing the same games. We're just not aware of it. And the Buddhas see us and they laugh. This is why the Buddhas are laughing. It's the same way as we laugh at our children when they don't will, if they stop after a while. Then, yeah. We do not mind sharing something we do not label mine. We share the sunset, we share the rainbow, we share the room here, we share the food and the tea there, because nobody says, hey, this is my tea. Or maybe it was your tea, but then you put it there to be shared, and then it makes us very happy. Yeah. So a seat on the bus, a rented car, etc. The same goes for something that I do not label mine, but want to be separated from. Yeah, if somebody takes away, you know, if I have too many clothes and I want to give them to somebody, I feel very noble. Should be the other way around. I should say thank you to them for taking them. But no, I'm the giver. No, you are receiving positive karma for giving the clothes that you don't want anyway anymore. So don't feel so noble. Don't expect anything. If you say thank you and you understand you are the receiver, because you have what have you received when you give away your clothes?
Space.
Free space in your cupboard. And that's great. You know, I tell you, it is more pleasant to open your cupboard and say, there is some space, than you open your cupboard and say, oh, look at all my Dior clothes. You know, or Yves Saint Laurent, I don't know who. Yeah? I tell you, it is more pleasant to see the space. But to see the space, you need to have all the Yves Saint Laurent and Dior and whatever. Yeah? That gives you a short moment of happiness, yeah? Maybe. But after a while, it becomes so fade, it becomes boring. Space never becomes boring. Why? Because we're not attached to it, because it's neutral. Also emptiness, you know, we never get bored about emptiness, we're not attached to it, because it doesn't have any function. You cannot get attached to emptiness itself. To the idea maybe, but not to emptiness itself. Okay, but then if somebody else does not want to have it and wants to push it towards us, then there's also conflict. Both of us will push the unwanted thing from one to the other. Like this, all the problems arise, and out of this I want and I don't want. We use words like I, me, mine in order to create a sense of belonging. But we have to be careful not to be tricked into believing them as truly existent, and to see them as abstract, static concepts which describe a dynamic process. So the dynamic process we label as stable. And then we get disappointed or sad when things that by nature change, we see the change, your body becoming old and fat and, you know, brain going and all these kind of things. The I is like the you, something that changes every moment. A fixated identification is not realistic because you cannot find anything stable. Nothing. You see a shirt with a spot in the shop, you have not bought it, then there's no problem that there's a spot on the shirt. You buy a shirt and somebody spills something on it, big emotional reaction, because the spill went onto my shirt. Same spot as before, but totally different reaction. Or what is also quite interesting to see, if you're a parent or savta or a saba, the baby vomits on you. You're not worried about your clothes. If it vomits on me, because not my baby. I worry a little bit about my clothes. Still more worried for the baby. If a drunk person worries on me, I should be much more worried about this drunk person than the baby, because the baby's taken care of, but I don't care at all. It's the same vomit. It smells. Baby's vomit also smell. What do you know, we're not going, it smells so nice. But the reaction towards this is totally different. Is it realistic that the reaction is different? I mean, this drunk person also was a baby at one point. Then again, it would be different to see the reaction, your son, your daughter, your father, your mother, your brother, your sister. Drunk, vomiting on you. How do you react then? Same way? How do you react when they are drunk or when they're sick? It's the same vomit. Totally different reaction. Who makes the difference? I. So we can live in a non-dual way in a dualistic reality. That's not easy to understand. Do you understand what he's saying here? We can live in a non-dual way in a dualistic reality. Seeing the dualistic reality, understanding it, seeing how ridiculous it is to hold it for true. The ultimate level without I and others, but be fully aware that there are I and others. That is no real I and others, but conventionally speaking, of course there's I and others. So don't fall into nihilism. Yeah, this is very important. We use I and others without making a real and fixated separation. Same goes for a dream. While in the dream we can panic, when waking up we calm down. Our experiences are dreamlike, dynamic, influenced by countless conditions. Then there will be no more solid problems that cannot be dealt with. Insight takes away the solid ground of attachment and aversion. Best is to take on a flexible view with less attachment to this seeming I. Then we can learn to work with these forces that lead to problems or joy, openness and love in a skillful way. Everything arises in the coming together of these different forces. The more we act in a flexible way inside these energy fields, the better. Yeah. Does this make sense? It's very well explained, I find. Or you not. Then I didn't translate it properly. If you don't find it really well explained. But when you feel I got so hurt, or they don't like me, or I'm so attached to them, or I'm so angry, you go, hey, I dynamic process. So which I is hurt now? The one from 5 minutes ago, the one now? You start to really to see, and that's one of the best antidotes, is when you feel a strong emotion, to really go and either just hold the emotion or look who is angry and try to find it, and you won't find it. And when the I is not there, because that is the root problem, then it disappears. Okay. So maybe just that, and then we make the break. So out of the prison of fear. Wherever there is lacking awareness, there is fear. So, same for the basic fear that plagues us all the time. It always comes when we do not want to be aware of the nature of things, not knowing who we are without outside reference points, and being totally in the dark what will happen after death. Also neurotic doubts, fanatical dogmatism, being inflexible on our views are expressions of this fear. Fear does have a reason. It shows us that there is something unknown and it could be dangerous. It encourages us to look deeper, to experience, to feel, to be attentive. But fear becomes a reflex when unknown things arise, or even a reflex to life in general. Reflex, that's probably, I don't know if it's a good word in English. Instinct is a better way to say it in English. German is a reflex. At that point, it blocks our readiness to be fully involved in our life. We live behind the walls of fear and need a lot of trust to open the door to this prison and to dare to make the step into the unknown. Often the suffering must become unbearable before there's enough interest to make that step. We trust the opening more than the protective wall. We trust the opening more than the protective wall. We are used to tightness and we see the opening as a danger. Good thing that this opening comes step by step. Openness is the refuge of the Buddhists. Sounds like a paradox. It is with body, speech and mind to go totally into awakening, into total opening and to go with the flow. That is the real protection which will also help us at the time of death. And Leora Price, at one point when we talked about, because she's going to see dying people, like just to be with them, or very sick people, and it's not an easy job because you can't give them hope in a way. You know, it's no point telling, oh yeah, no, don't worry, you will not die. This is what we say sometimes when they're very close to us, you know. So people ask her, well, how do you protect yourself from burnout and, you know, going home really sad and all this? She is sad sometimes, but she doesn't carry it with her. So she said, you know, an open heart is the best protection. Wow, it's so true. Then nothing holds, nothing sticks. And then these thoughts, may they be free from suffering. And when they're dying, may they have the mental strength to be able to be calm, to calm down, to be peaceful. May they be peaceful in the middle of this chaos, something like that. Because then you calm down, and then that can have an influence on others. But if we shut, if we're closed, protected, then the wall is there and the door is closed. It's not easy. It's not easy to keep your heart open when you can't help. It's very difficult. This has to be trained. And we train it with daily situations. We're not training it, you know, at the time of death with the dying person. So it's good to train before you go there. So what prevents us to go into that openness is our fear. Fear of getting hurt, fear of suffering, fear of going out of existence, fear of being nobody, fear of not being loved. There are some people who don't love you. It's okay. There are some people who hurt you. It's okay, because we also hurt others by being disrespectful, ignoring them, not wanting to spend time with them, and they cling to you. It's like, yeah, then they get hurt. We don't want to understand their view. It's hurtful. So we get hurt also. Fear of suffering, we suffer. Some big, some small, some only pain in the body, which I also have now. It's okay, you know, I get up, it will stop. So it's all right, no need to get upset about this. If you can do something about it, by all means do. There are no negative emotions without fear. It's also good to know. Many of them can be seen as defenses. Fear of thirst, fear of tiredness, fear of criticism, fear of rejection. There is fear everywhere. The necessity for security is building that prison. There is no security anywhere. Fear experiences a threat for the eye, and we feel it in the body, trembling, tightness, heat, cold, sweat, etc. The fear of losing control. Fear is a tension of body and mind. Unknown creates fear, and because all new things are unknown, we fear change. Desire has fear of not Desire has the fear of not getting the pleasant things. Anger has the fear of getting the unpleasant. Arrogance has the fear of being vilified. Jealousy has a fear of losing the loved or not being good enough. Underlying all this is lacking awareness. That is why fear is not noted as a separate emotion in the Abhidharma. The real reason for the fear is to believe that there is somebody real that I need to protect. Fear is more hindering than helpful. Very often the dangers are imagined. In order to succeed, we do not need fear, but clarity and wisdom, just love and compassion. And all this can be developed. Fear can wake us up, but it also blocks. Fear prevents us from looking deeper. We look away. It hinders communication with others because the basic trust is not there. Increasing awareness will bring into light also the unpleasant things. To look can provoke feelings of helplessness and inability. So, yeah, that's what you said. We need a lot of trust in our nature to be able to just be with that. Okay. So that's the basic problem. Yeah. I mean, we see ourselves as individuals. Just the word is ridiculous. Individual means not dividable. I can divide myself in many parts. But individual means separate from others. And we can maybe close this morning session with what Einstein says, when he says, a human being is part of this thing we call the universe. But through a mental, optical delusion or hallucination, he experienced himself as separate from others. And as long as we are in this separateness, he also calls about prison, we are caught in that prison of wanting, not wanting, and we kind of select a few loved ones that we let in. All the others, no. Then he says our task is to kind of to see that this is the wrong concept. I can't do it word by word, but maybe sense is. So our task is to kind of break down the walls of that prison, and then he says, and now I don't agree with him. To fulfill the task is impossible. Maybe in this life it's impossible. So he said, it's to fulfill the task to see oneself as oneness with the whole universe is impossible. But just trying to do that will bring mental stability. That's good. But we can break down all the walls. Okay. So this afternoon, I'm not going to do anger and attachment because that's what we do usually. But we will look at arrogance and jealousy and try to get some antidotes. So, as I said, we will get some tools. So the tool for this lacking awareness is sitting down and training in awareness. That is the tool. Yeah? Having, awareness will arise when it starts to calm down. If you want to calm it down and you kind of push the thoughts away, it will increase. So you learn just to sit. And it's really good to have at the beginning to have an object, your breath. In breath, in breath, out breath. And the mind goes in breath, out, in breath, out. The breath, who knows if in breath is really in breath and out breath is really out breath. Some people, like to count. So the count goes, you get used to counting, it goes automatically. But also the thoughts come. So it's like you do both. So I don't know if, again, this is just my personal experience. I don't know. I can count. I'm absolutely not aware that I'm counting. I can still count, until I'm almost at 100, and I should have stopped at 21. A good thing to be more aware is to count backwards. I think it's 8. I don't know where the numbers come from. You count in breath 1, out breath. In breath 2, until 8, and then you go backwards. Then you are more focused. Be simple. So I think, in breath, out breath is in, out. It's really good. But then check from time to time whether you're really with it. And this is how you train awareness. From time to time to notice awareness when usually it's when, a moment like this and you're fully there and there's no I who goes, there's no comment yet. There's just tuck, like that. Then you go, oh. And then it's finished because the already wants to grasp it because it's pleasant. But it's okay. These gaps will become longer and longer and longer. Okay, so for the lunch break there will be food for you. I mean, you will have brought your own food. You call this my food, right? How much did you do to make this food so that you have a right to call it my food? Maybe you chopped it and maybe you added a few things that are also not made by you, but we have the audacity to call it my food, isn't it? If you have put it there in a box and you go there and the box is not there anymore, you wouldn't say, oh, the food that somebody else produced and that I don't really need because there's enough other stuff lying around is not here anymore. You wouldn't go like this. You would go, who took my food? And you would get angry and you would go around and all of a sudden you see, like we made my shoes, which I sometimes think they're there, but no, they're over there. All of a sudden you see your box somewhere else. And you go, oh yeah, this is where I put it. And in the meantime, this anger that creates imprints. Imprints of habit, not finding what you want, boom, anger arises. And this habit becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. It will not create strong imprints when you are aware, you're noticing it, and you go, oh, how ridiculous. You change it by thinking, it's not my food anyway. The dynamic process here, I'm just calling it my food, but it's not my food. You know, I didn't produce it. And then the happiness, somebody else will enjoy it. And then in the evening, before you go home, you found a full box, which is yours, and you go, oh, nothing enjoyed. But at least you created positive imprints by thinking, oh, may somebody enjoy it. And about the enjoying, you have a duty to enjoy your food because so much hard work goes into that. If you don't believe me, go and work one day in the fields here in Israel with the Thai workers or the Filipinos or whoever does it. One day is enough. And do exactly the same movements and the same work. Next day you will need a physiotherapist or at least painkillers. Oh, we have somebody who can, working outside is pleasant.
In the winter. When it's not raining.
In the winter when it's not raining, and definitely not in Switzerland because your hands are very stiff with the cold. So like this. So then, you know, when we just think about the effort that goes into the food, how can you not enjoy it? It's like you put a lot of effort in making a nice meal and somebody just comes and gulps it down to say, did you like it? Oh, it was okay. Come on, you know, be respectful. Be respectful to Mother Earth, the wind, the sun, the water. Without them, no food. We can pack in now all our technology, I tell you, all these things that they make now kind of artificially, okay, but it's also from nature, the things they take. I tell you, if nature would be like human beings, she would have stopped long ago to feed us. She would say, oh, no, they're useless. No, there's too much effort for nothing, They just take. On top of it, they throw all the garbage onto me, and then they don't even say thank you. So you say thank you to Mother Earth before you eat, and you say thank you, or you think about all the people who were involved in producing the food. Then when you have these mind states, the food doesn't need to be special. It's delicious anyway because your mind is open. So it's okay. And if you think a food's not good enough, then you think, okay, I have the choice between that food or no food. Then that's always good enough. You see, all these are antidotes, how we can go on about our mind. Yeah? But we need to remember it. Okay? Okay, so please enjoy your food. And we meet again at 2:00. And you're not in silence. Yes. Oh, just a moment.
מי שלא נרשם, כי הוא יצא לו הגיע באיחור, אז יש פה, אפשר לעבור ולרשום אותם.
ובבקשה, חנות הדרמה, מוזמנים להגיע רק בלי אוכל ושתייה, בבקשה.
אוקיי.